This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Friday, the 3rd day of February in the year 2023. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. After 4 days of close examination, the $781.9 billion national budget was passed in the National Assembly on Thursday afternoon. The budget, which is partially financed by earnings from the oil and gas sector, is expected to spearhead major transformational and development work in several areas. The Minister of Finance, Dr. Ashwini Singh, said the budget strikes a balance between addressing the pressing needs and irritants of today while investing in the future.
I've already at various points during the course of this debate thanked my colleagues on this side of the House and indeed my colleagues on that side of the House for their various contributions during the course of the consideration of the budget, and in particular, of course, the many public servants who would have contributed to the process to get us here. I would like, of course, to reiterate all of those sentiments that I have expressed and that others have expressed around on both sides of the House in relation to those various invaluable contributions.
The biggest chunk of the budget will go towards the Ministry of Public Works, with the Ministry of Health and Education following closely behind her. This year's budget also includes a number of large projects that are expected to transform energy supply in the country, including provisions for the construction of an integrated natural gas liquids plant. Other large infrastructure projects include provisions for upgrading and widening of the Quarantine Highway from Palmyra to Crabwood Creek, upgrading of the East Coast Railway embankment route into a 4-lane highway from Sheriff Street to Orange Nassau, continuing to the Mahaica River Bridge, and the continuation of the upgrade of the East Coast Highway, along with the construction of the East Coast to East Bank Road linkage from Ogle to Eccles. The Finance Minister said this year's budget reinforces government's commitment to improving the lives of citizens. At the end of the consideration of the estimates yesterday, both government and opposition members said that they hope they'll be able to work together with the implementation of the budget moving forward.
Mr. Speaker, I want to also thank you and thank all of those who would have voted and supported all of the work that all of us in this House have come here to do. I look forward to once again challenging my colleagues to be better representatives of the people, and that we can one day see eye to eye on many of the issues in service to the people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, we know that indeed this was the largest budget. I don't like to repeat that term, but it is indeed all the more why scrutiny should be there, because it is the largest budget. And I am extremely honored to be amongst friends here in the opposition who utilize their learning that has happened over the past 2 budgets to make sure that they showed the country, and especially the members here, a capacity to get beyond the figures.
Stay with us. More news coming up in just a moment.
It's been a long time coming. Overdue, some might say. But now that it's here, it will change life forever. And it is here to stay. The future is now, transforming Guyana into the 21st century. Introducing GTT Fiber. Experience internet connectivity like never before. Speeds you deserve at prices you can afford from a name you can trust. Sign up today. GTT Fiber is here. GTT. Together, we rise faster.
Giftland Office Max, we're all about customer satisfaction. Whether it's clothing and shoes for the ladies, gents, and kids, or for the latest electronics or hardware appliance, we're always thinking of satisfying you, our dear customers. Now you can shop online at www.giftlandofficemax.com or visit us at the Giftland Mall, where we're happy to serve each and every one of you.
At the most critical, life-changing moments, the National Insurance Scheme is here to ensure that your needs are covered. Access reimbursement for medical expenses for various aspects of your medical care. We know that eye care is of utmost importance. Receive assistance with our Spectacle Care voucher. Visiting the dentist? Dental care is also covered under our sickness benefit services. Offset the funeral expenses of a loved one with costs covered by our funeral benefits. National Insurance Scheme. We're there every step of the way.
Get in the game with Buster. Win a full gaming setup, Xbox X, gaming chair, gaming speaker and headset, or any of over 60 weekly prizes like Oculus Quest 2, Mini 2 drone, Nintendo Switch, and many more top gaming prizes. Check below for details.
Cuban woman lost her life yesterday afternoon when the minibus she was in and the 4x4 pickup collided head-on along the Mabura Trail and burst into flames. The accident occurred at around 3:20 yesterday afternoon. A police statement last night explained that the two vehicles were traveling in opposite directions in the vicinity of 40 miles Mabura when the front portion of the minibus collided with a 4x4 pickup as the two came around the bend in the road. The police said both vehicles burst into flames on impact, forcing passengers to escape through the windows and any other opening they could find. The Cuban woman who was seated behind the driver of the minibus appeared to have been trapped after the collision, and she was burnt to death. The injured drivers of the two vehicles, along with the 12 passengers from the minibus who survived, were transferred to the Mackenzie Hospital for medical treatment. Most of the passengers were Cuban and Indian nationals. The minibus driver's name has been given as Eon Sinclair of Kitty, while no name was provided by the police for the driver of the pickup. Both drivers are to be questioned by the police as part of the investigations. Well, though the Guyana Police Force has been seeing success in its arrest rate and has boasted about its ability to reduce serious crimes in Guyana, the institution does not have a very good record of successfully prosecuting those cases when those cases reach the magistrate's court. The situation has caused a number of cases to be thrown out due to weak prosecution or insufficient evidence. Cases being thrown out for lack of prosecution or insufficient evidence have reached 44%, with plans to reduce that number to 19%. Opposition leader Aubrey Norton raised the issue with Home Affairs Minister Rosen Ben on Thursday in the National Assembly's Committee of Supply. The Home Affairs Minister threw blame for the police force's bad prosecution record at the doorsteps of the former APNU-AFC government, which has been out of office for more than 2 years.
The Guyana Police Force is what we inherited. We inherited in Guyana, we inherited a Guyana police force, and I may say in this place, I will say in this place that the efficiency, loyalty and professionalism of the Guyana police force was in question at a particular time. In question. Now that we have removed that doubt, we can talk about improvements. We talked about the reduction in traffic fatalities. I said on the floor in this house that we have reduced serious crime in Guyana of an order of 20%. 2 years in succession.
Some $130 million was set aside to train police officers of all levels of the police force this year, as the minister admitted that there is a desperate need to ensure that ranks properly carry out their mandate.
I spoke about training for the CID in the listing. The police force can improve and will improve if we focus on their service and protection motto, and if we have identified, of course, and they understand that the empathetic approach, respectful approach to people, to the public who pay them, is carried out.
The Home Affairs Minister also said the government will be adopting a no-nonsense posture as it relates to errant police ranks, and therefore at every opportunity, ranks will be reminded to conduct themselves in a way that is befitting of a peace officer.
I spoke yesterday at a conference for these policemen, and I reminded them that they are peace officers and that we want to increase the peace in Guyana, that we want to reduce domestic violence, disorderly crime, homicides due to drugs and other issues, and also issues related, as happened perhaps yesterday, related to drug smuggling and drug running.
A number of magistrates over the years have chided the police prosecutors over bringing matters to the court with very weak or little evidence.
Mini Mart is now open to serve your everyday wants and needs. Our experienced pharmacists will help you feel your best, ensuring you bring home everything you need. We guarantee you will come back for everything you want. Our team is friendly. Our shelves are stocked and ready. Hassle-free shopping for your busy life. Ansem Mini Mart, everyday shopping made easy. From our home to yours. Ansem Mini Mart is now open to serve you. Call 220-0505 or check out our Ansem Guyana Facebook page for more details.
Turning now to health matters, the Ministry of Health will be heading into the hinterland communities this year with over 120,000 bed and hammock nets to distribute to residents who are exposed to the malaria disease, with the aim of reducing malaria. Malaria has been declared an endemic in regions 1, 7, 8, and 9, and in some parts of region 10, creating worry among health officials. The World Health Population aims to reduce malaria cases and mortality rate by at least 90% and eliminate malaria and prevent a resurgence in malaria-free countries by 2030. Here in Guyana, the Health Ministry is seeking to reduce the mortality rate and the number of cases of malaria by 2025. More than $137 million has been budgeted this year for the purchase of insecticides and impregnated bed nets.
We will be buying 73,000 bed nets. That would include 73,000 bed nets, and we'll have another 58,000 hammock nets. So this would be distributed to communities in the interior, regions 1, 7, 8, 9, 10. And really it's to help us to control malaria.
The Health Ministry has also set itself a target to end leprosy in Guyana by 2025. This year, a special laboratory will be procured to make diagnosis more efficient, the Minister of Health said.
Guyana has, over the last couple of years, achieved elimination at the national level. And for the WHO purposes, elimination is considered less than 1 person per 10,000. So we have achieved that at the national level. However, we have a couple of regions where we see it is more than 1 per 10,000. And therefore, we have targeted those regions with specific programs so that we can reduce that to the 1 or less than 1 per 10,000.
The Ministry of Health is currently running a campaign to eliminate leprosy from Guyana within the next 2 years. While the government and the main opposition, APNU-AFC, clashed on Thursday after the ruling party refused to disclose a timeline for the availability of the final investment plan for the multi-billion-dollar gas-to-shore project. Prime Minister Mark Phillips would only say that the information will be provided in due course. The government moved to the National Assembly back in December for approval for the $3.8 billion that it withdrew from the contingency fund to make part payment for the construction of the natural gas-fired power plant and the natural gas liquids plant. However, when called upon to provide critical information at the level of the Committee of Supply, the provision of that information was not forthcoming. It was opposition member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipal who had called on the government to hand over the final investment plan for the multi-billion-dollar project and provide a status report. In so doing, he pointed out that in 2022, a total of $20.8 billion was budgeted for the project, while a total of $43.3 billion is expected to be expended this year. But while the Prime Minister, Mark Phillips, provided a breakdown of the sums expended so far, he did not provide a definitive period for the provision of the investment plan to the country.
We had paid 15% of the contract sum for the EPC contract, and that amounted to $24.213 billion. As you can recall, the total sum was some $759,882,080 United States, and that 15% would have been $113,982,312, and that's how we arrive at Guyana dollars $24.213 billion.
It was also noted that an additional $400 million was given to the Ministry of Public Works to compensate persons whose lands have been acquired under the land acquisition for public purposes to pave way for the pipeline route. But when asked a second time for the investment plan to be circulated among members of the National Assembly, the Minister of Finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, jumped to the rescue of the Prime Minister, telling the Committee of Supply that though he cannot recall a commitment being made by the government, it will nonetheless be happy to provide the information as promised. But though offering a renewed commitment, the information was not forthcoming. Clearly dissatisfied, MP Mahipal told the committee that the project is of significant importance to the people of Guyana and they should be provided with the requisite information.
I referenced the final investment plan, sir, because it was in February of 2022 when Mr. Winston Brasington said in an interview that the final investment plan was ready. So it's against that backdrop, and in the interest of transparency and accountability, sir, I am asking if perhaps all the documents that are related to this big project that is going to utilize a substantial amount of money from the Guyanese people, if all the documents relating to this project can be made available to the opposition side of this House so that we can have a better and clearer understanding and be a part of the process to ensure that the people's money are accounted for and the project is being scrutinized to the fullest for the benefit of all Guyanese people.
And adding his voice to the issue, opposition MP Sherwin Holder sought to ascertain from the Prime Minister the rate at which power is expected to be sold upon completion of the project. In response, Prime Minister Phillips said it is public knowledge that Guyanese will see a cut in electricity costs by some 50%. But MP Holder insisted that a rate be provided. In an almost comical manner, the Prime Minister told the committee that in all fairness to the opposition, he wished not to communicate too many figures to confuse them. Firing back, the opposition member of Parliament said the government has a record of wasting taxpayers' money.
I already promised the honourable member that in due course, all the information will be available to him. Mr. Speaker, additionally, in the media, we had a sign-in ceremony and we had a press release. So the Guyanese people are already receiving information on this project?
Mr. Chair, the PPP government has a bad track record when it comes to these types of massive projects. This project is being undertaken billions upon billions of dollars. It's only fair that the Prime Minister can give us in this House and give to the people of Guyana this information.
Questions regarding the unit cost of the gas to be sold, monitoring system for the project, and information regarding consultants hired, if any, were met with a single response that the information will be included in the investment plan, which will be released in due course. In addition to the $759 million contract, which was signed with CH4 Linsaka for the construction of a gas-to-shore project at Wills, an additional $1 billion will be used to construct the pipeline. Let's tell you now that a total of $600 million has been approved by the National Assembly for the implementation of the 10th cycle of the Basic Needs Trust Fund, which is a joint developmental program funded by the Caribbean Development Bank and the government of Guyana. For this year, the program will see the construction of schools, the rehabilitation of community roads, and the installation of water supply systems in a number of indigenous villages. Additionally, a number of livelihood enhancement projects are to be executed along with skills training. At the level of the Committee of Supply, Opposition Member of Parliament Volder Lawrence called on the Minister of Finance, Dr. Ashley Singh, to provide greater detail about some of the projects under the initiative. The Minister of Finance explained that the trust fund, which is administered by the CDB, has been doing excellent work in supporting community-level social infrastructure. He said this year the program will continue to offer much-needed support, particularly in small and remote communities.
The BNTF will be financing in 2023 investments in education infrastructure, in particular construction of primary, nursery, special education schools. Very modest. These are very small school buildings in small communities, typically in very small, oftentimes remote communities. The BNTF has also been supporting the construction of early childhood development centers. I think the Honourable Member might be familiar with some of these. We also do some small community roads under BNTF. We also do some modest water projects. In particular, there's a strong emphasis on hinterland water.
It was noted that the projects to be executed were identified in consultation with the communities that are in line to benefit. The CDB is also required to grant its no objection. In 2022, just over $1 billion was injected into the trust fund, while in 2021 it received more than $661 million. Meanwhile, the Committee of Supply has approved $50 million for the Linden Enterprise Network. Asked by opposition MP Jaretta Finance for a status report on LEN's Board of Directors, the Minister of Finance told the committee that the board is still to be appointed.
I'm happy to inform the honourable members that the matter of the appointment of the board for LEN is, we recognize that appointment is pending, and the honourable member would no doubt be very pleased to know that this matter is engaging active and urgent consideration.
But MP Finance appeared unimpressed, telling the Committee of Supply that the Finance Minister offered a similar response when he was called upon to provide a status report last year during the consideration of the budget estimates then. The opposition Member of Parliament reasoned that though $50 million was allocated to the institution in 2022 and 2023, Lindens are not likely to benefit in the absence of a board. In response, the Minister of Finance maintained his position, telling the committee that the government recognizes the need for a board to be appointed and the matter remains on their consideration.
Anson Mini Mart is now open to serve your everyday wants and needs. Our experienced pharmacists will help you feel your best, ensuring you bring home everything you need. We guarantee you will come back for everything you want. Our team is friendly. Our shelves are stocked and ready. Hassle-free shopping for your busy life. Anson Mini Mart, everyday shopping made easy. From our home to yours. Anson Mini Mart is now open to serve you. Call 220-0505 or check out our Anson Macau Guyana Facebook page for more details.
Food Max Supermarket, located on the ground floor of the Giftland Mall, is your one-stop shop for all your grocery needs. We stock a variety of imported frozen meat and food products, fresh produce, and pet supplies, freshly made bread. Rotisserie chicken and patties are also available daily. Shop in comfort today at Food Max and let our courteous staff assist you in satisfying your shopping needs. Food Max, the fresh food specialist.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true, or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Buster, win a full gaming setup, Xbox X, gaming chair, gaming speaker and headset, or any of over 60 weekly prizes like Oculus Quest 2, Mini 2 drone, Nintendo Switch, and many more top gaming prizes. Check below for details.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up, fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guyoil Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guyoil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive!
Across the region tonight, a Brazilian senator said yesterday that a close ally of former President Jair Bolsonaro tried to persuade him to join a conspiracy to overturn the far-right leader's electoral laws last year. Senator Marcos Dolval told a news conference that he had been invited to a meeting on the 9th of December with then-President Bolsonaro by his associate, former lawmaker Daniel Silveira. At the meeting, the official asked the senator to try to get ahead of the electoral court to make compromising comments in a taped conversation that could lead to the judge's arrest. The senator told reporters that Bolsonaro sat in silence while the official laid out the plot against Justice Alexandre de Moraes, a Supreme Court judge running Brazil's top electoral authority. Bolsonaro had made baseless attacks on the integrity of the electronic voting system, which the judge defended in a decision that Bolsonaro blamed for his defeat. The official who made the comments was arrested by the police yesterday on a warrant issued by the same judge. Peru's state energy agency, Peru Petro, is offering areas for oil and gas exploration through direct negotiations with interested companies and up to 31 separate technical contracts, hoping to boost the nation's reserves, officials have announced. President Dina Boluarte's administration is relaxing some participation terms and issuing a new call for investment. Of the country's 8 exploration basins, 3 remain largely unexplored. The 31 areas on offer for 2-year technical evaluation agreements are located in a number of areas across the country. US-based Jaguar Exploration, Canada's PetroTal, and China's State Oil Company have submitted requests to sign technical agreements, officials have announced in Peru. And finally, on this Friday night, international news. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has postponed his trip to China after a Chinese spy balloon flew across the U.S. A senior State Department official said conditions were not right at this time for what would have been the first high-level U.S.-China meeting there in years. A Chinese apology was noted, the official said, but described the balloon as a clear violation of sovereignty and international law. The visit was to come amid fraying tensions between the U.S. and China. America's top U.S. diplomat was set to visit Beijing to hold talks on a wide range of issues, including security, Taiwan, and COVID-19. But there was consternation on Thursday when U.S. defense officials announced that they were tracking a high-altitude surveillance balloon over the United States. A senior State Department official said the balloon would have narrowed the agenda of any meetings with Chinese officials in a way that would have been unhelpful and unconstructive. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight and this week. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.